Prime Minister is off to this big climate summit in Glasgow with this new net zero global warming policy, totally useless, as you say. It's promising it's no pain. And, you know, it'll rely on inventions no one can think of at the moment. But I wonder whether that's actually a good policy. You know, he's not promising too much, maybe. He's saying he's not going to force things like electric cars on us. He's not going to have climate mandates. And maybe he's just hoping that by the time we all wake up to you can't do it, climate hysteria will have gone.
Well, someone's going to pay, Andrew. There's no free lunch here. You know, Morrison is very much poll-driven. He's not really a leader. He's a follower. He follows the polls, and he's got some research that says that about 80% of Australians want us to do something about climate change, but they're not willing to pay any more than $10 a week to save the planet. Yeah, it's not much of a commitment, $10 a week to save the planet. And in that environment, Morrison's saying, I've got a posture, I've got a position, which is net zero 2050, and he's trying to give the illusion it's going to be cost-free. No one's actually going to pay for it. Well, they've got a starting investment of $19 billion to go into all those experimental technologies that I mentioned earlier on, plus things like charging stations for EVs. And anyone who does go down the electric vehicle path, of course it costs you. The average cost of those vehicles is $65,000 a year. So whether you're talking about the subsidies or rewiring the transmission network or the backup power that's needed with pumped hydro, you know, things like the massively expensive Snowy 2.0 or battery storage, all these things are massively expensive. Why? Because none of them are commercially proven. And look at hydrogen, where Australia's wealthiest man is basically saying, I can't by myself fund these hydrogen investments. I need subsidies from federal and state government. So it's not much of an emerging industry when the wealthiest man in the country can't fund it by himself, can't manage his own investments. So there is a cost. Don't be deluded. But, you know, in an era where the Liberals just rack up enormous debt, I suppose they're just tabbing it up to your grandchildren, my grandchildren, generations in the future. And that's the saddest part of the lot. Absolutely. It's not going to do anything about the world's temperatures and climate, but our grandkids are going to pay massive amounts, billions of dollars in refunded debt, all for a policy that was about politics.
Absolutely. And Mark, just before I go, the federal government sponsors a festival in Adelaide. It's Australia's largest Asian festival. And the local Hong Kong Cultural Association there wanted to decorate its stalls with signature yellow umbrellas. But then the 9 newspapers report that the organisers have frozen them out after linking the umbrellas to the umbrella movement of protesters in Hong Kong who were wanting democracy under the communist dictatorship, a lot of them now in jail. It turns out that 2 of the festival sponsors are in fact linked to the Chinese dictatorship. That's the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office and Adelaide's Confucius Institute. Mark, is there a link here?
Well, it seems quite a disgrace that China's national security laws are being policed in Australia at an Asian festival in Adelaide. And weren't we supposed to have federal government action by now to weed out all these agents of foreign political influence that clamp down on free speech, the freedom to put up a yellow umbrella, seemingly innocuous? I would have thought the federal government should be onto this and should ensure that whoever did the censorship never sponsors any more events in Australia, never has a say about our cultural activities, our arts festivals, our gatherings, our free speech. Because it's outrageous that after all this time where we've known the Chinese are trying to infiltrate our politics and have agents of political influence in our country, that this would be happening at a festival of this kind in Adelaide. So where's the Department of Foreign Affairs when you need them?
Oh, so true, Mark. Honestly, the erosion of our freedoms in this country is so serious, and I'm so disgusted that so few people speak up against it. At least you do. Mark Latham, thanks for your time.